me. Who shot you?
I didn't necessarily broke in that house. No!
Okay, stay on the phone with me, okay? Do not hang up.
On April 25, 2010, tragedy struck in St. Paul, Minnesota, when 25-year-old Heidi Firkus lost her life in a shocking incident. When police finally arrived at their home in the 1700 block of West Minnehaha Avenue in Minnesota, they found Heidi lying dead from a single gunshot wound. Who was the intruder Heidi was talking about, and what exactly happened in the house that was built on the banks of the mighty Mississippi? Hi, and welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, please consider subscribing, as it helps us motivate to create more intriguing content for you. Let's have a look at the case of Heidi Firkus. St. Paul, with its status as the capital of Minnesota and a population exceeding 300,000, stands as a significant epicenter of business and governance within the region. This bustling city, often referred to as the Twin City, alongside its neighboring metropolis, Minneapolis, is emblematic of an active, diverse, and culturally rich community. The city's identity is deeply rooted in its ability to embrace all four seasons with equal enthusiasm, from the warmth and vibrancy of summers to the enchanting yet frigid winters. Its lively streets and neighborhoods provide a vivid backdrop for a host of cultural events and activities, ensuring there's always something for residents and visitors to enjoy. However, St. Paul's allure extends beyond seasonal changes and urban life. What truly sets this city apart is its thriving and celebrated brewing scene. St. Paul has earned a well-deserved reputation as the beer capital of Minnesota, with an array of craft breweries and establishments that cater to the discerning taste of beer enthusiasts. The community's collective love for this ancient libation forms the backdrop against which a tragic event, forever leaving an indelible mark on the heart of this lively city. In 2010, there was a deadly home invasion in this beautiful area, but the people who lived there were not ready to deal with it. Heidi was born on December 14, 1984, to John and Linda Erickson. She has two brothers, Peter and Joel. She was the youngest of three kids. Heidi moved to Falcon Heights with her family when she was a little girl. That is where she grew up. Growing up in a loving home with close ties between family members was something Heidi really admired about her two older brothers. Heidi loved painting and often sent loving cards with beautiful paintings on them. She did well in school, but her talents went beyond that. She was active in basketball, tennis, and choral music at school. In 2003, she graduated from Roseville Area High School and went on to attend what is now the University of Northwestern in Roseville. Heidi has always been very involved with church. As a child, she went every week with her family. People who knew Heidi said she gave her life to God. It got even stronger for her in the church after high school. She went on many mission trips and became the leader of the youth group at the Calvary Church in Roseville. Nicholas Firkus, who was also in charge of a youth group at the Calvary Church in Roseville, met Heidi Marie Erickson on her way to a new start. Nicholas grew up in Minnesota with his parents, Steve and Julie Firkus, who were also devoted members of the Calvary Church. Heidi started dating Nicholas in August 2003. It was a match made in heaven. Heidi's family wanted her to be happy, and Nicholas seemed like a good young man, so John and Linda were happy to bless the couple. After going out together for almost 2 years, Heidi and Nicholas got married in 2005. In St. Paul, Minnesota, they made their home after getting married. They were truly happy together and deeply in love. In addition to their work at church, the newlyweds enjoyed camping, hiking, biking, and other outdoor activities. In August 2007, the couple bought a house in St. Paul at 1794 West Minnehaha Avenue. They moved in the following month, with Nicholas taking care of the finances and Heidi, who was very creative decorating and designing the space. It felt like a new start, a hopeful start to their life together. By 2010, Heidi and Nicholas seemed to have settled into a normal life. Nicholas was the director of operations at Crew, to Chem Dry, a company that cleans carpets, and Heidi worked at Securian, a business that does financial work. She also spent a lot of time teaching Sunday school. At that moment, no one around them knew that they were facing an unimaginable tragedy that would change their lives forever. On the morning of August 25th, 2010, Heidi called 911 to say that someone was trying to break into her home on Minnehaha Avenue in St. Paul. She told the operator that someone was trying to break into her house and mentioned she was in St. Paul. When asked about her location, she said 1794 on West Minnehaha. After a minute of the call, there was a loud scream, and then there was a sudden silence as the connection was lost. Despite multiple attempts to make contact again, it was unsuccessful. However, about 2 minutes later, the same phone called again, this time with Nicholas Firkus on the other end, desperately pleading for help. In the midst of Nicholas's desperate explanation that he and his wife had been shot, the police were already en route to the house. The operator said, "Please hold on for a moment. Who harmed you? Please continue talking on the phone with me. Don't disconnect the call." When the St. Paul police entered the house, they noticed right away that the front door was slightly ajar. There was a strong smell of gunpowder in the air, which got stronger as they moved toward the kitchen. Heidi Firkus was lying on her back in the kitchen, with her feet pointing toward the front door. Her hair and face were stained with blood, and she was not moving. At the same time, Nicholas was sitting next to her, talking to the 911 operator. It looked like someone had shot him in the upper left leg. A shotgun was lying on the floor next to the front door, and shotgun pellets had hit the lower part of the inner door, causing evident damage. The police said that Nicholas was able to describe what happened that terrible morning. Even though he was very upset, he told them that he and his wife were sleeping soundly in their upstairs bedroom around 6 a.m. that Sunday. Nicholas woke up and went downstairs to get a glass of water. Not long after going back to sleep while still awake, he heard sounds that someone was trying to open their front door. Around 6:30 a.m., Nicholas quickly woke up Heidi and told her to call 911 because he was scared. He got a shotgun out of the closet while she was talking to the 911 operator. They were getting ready to run out the back door and into the attached garage to get away. Following this, they both went downstairs. Exactly when they got to the bottom of the stairs, the door swung open, revealing a stranger standing in front of them. Nicholas and the intruder got into a fight, while Heidi ran toward the back door. Tragically, a gunshot was fired, hitting Heidi in the back. Nicholas went on to say that he and the attacker fought over the shotgun, which led to another gunshot that hit Nicholas in the leg. He hit the ground, and the thief used the chance to run away through the front door. Nicholas tried to describe the invader in detail, but he was not able to. He was not sure if they were black or white, but he did say that one of them was wearing a hoodie. Nicholas was shot and taken to the hospital after the first statement. There he was treated. Heidi was named dead at the scene of the accident. Notably, the crime scene did not show any signs of a home invasion inside the house, even though the attack was fatal. The front door of the house had a locking lock and a small lock. There were no marks on the deadbolt, but there were on the door jamb near the bottom lock. There were several things on a table just inside the door, such as a beer bottle, a water bottle, and a ticket. None of these things seemed to have been moved or disturbed. The house was also not broken into, and there were no signs that a fight had happened. Heidi's injuries were very bad, as the autopsy showed. A shotgun wound to her back went through her posterior spinal column, left ribs, left lung, and anterior ribs. The wound came in from the right side. Nicholas's accident was not really dangerous to his life. An entire gunshot wound went through his upper left thigh, but there was no major bleeding or damage beyond minor damage to the soft tissues. On the other hand, Nicholas was still greatly upset emotionally throughout the whole thing. He looked completely crazy. Nicholas left the hospital after about 3 hours of getting the right medical care. At the same time, the St. Paul police started talking to a lot of people in the area to find out if anyone had seen or heard anything strange or odd during the time of the incident. At around 6:20 a.m., a neighbor said they heard the sound of a car racing through the streets. The witness said the car was quickly leaving the area. Someone else in the neighborhood said they heard a loud noise around the same time that Nicholas called 911 for help. Strangely though, this neighbor said they did not hear any gunshots. The police needed to conduct another interview with Nicholas after his hospital release, as they still had numerous questions. During the subsequent questioning and interview of Nicholas Firkus, he provided more information. The interviewer started by saying that it was a frightening situation and proceeded to ask about the events approximately 24 hours earlier. They asked when he had gone to sleep, and Nicholas mentioned it was around 12:15. He also indicated that the doors were always locked at bedtime. Nicholas then went on to explain that he woke up at approximately 6 a.m., visited the bathroom, had some food and drink, and briefly returned to bed for 10 or 15 minutes. He recounted hearing the screen door open and someone attempting to manipulate the doorknob. Consequently, he retrieved shotgun from the closet. When asked if he had heard sounds of someone trying to enter the house downstairs, Nicholas confirmed this. He also stated that he woke Heidi and informed her about the situation. He suggested that they leave the house, put on their shoes, and go to the garage. Nicholas further indicated that they didn't want to remain inside while someone was attempting to enter the house. He mentioned that he told Heidi to call 911 and head to the garage. As he attempted to close the door, it was pushed open, and Nicholas believed the intruder saw him. Nicholas recalled that the intruder may have taken the gun from him. When questioned about the intruder's appearance, Nicholas mentioned that the person was wearing a dark sweater with the hood pulled up, making it difficult to identify the individual's race. Even though Nicholas helped them, the detective still had questions about how true Nicholas's story was. At one point, the detective approached Nicholas and inquired whether he had any involvement in his wife's sudden death. Nicholas responded with a question about why there was a party, to which the detective explained that they needed to ask because they were police officers. Nicholas denied any connection to Heidi's death and claimed they had a happy marriage, which appeared to reassure the detective. Nicholas went on to explain that they were making plans, but it was somewhat chaotic. They were in the process of closing on their house and needed to move out by the next day. The van had a trade bacteria issue, which was one reason Nicholas had brought it home. He mentioned their intention to leave on Monday and how they were in the process of moving their belongings into the garage. The detective suggested they start putting things away and find a place to stay. Nicholas added that they hadn't informed the buyers yet, but they planned to discuss it the following day. They had been dealing with the situation and had not been open with their friends about their problems, making the whole situation challenging. The detective acknowledged that it was not an easy situation. Nicholas had admitted that they were having money problems. No one was ready for the secret he was about to tell them. He said they didn't pay their bills on time, so their house was considered late on payments. In fact, they were supposed to be kicked out the very next day. Even stranger, they had kept this terrible secret from their family and friends, which made the news even more shocking. Nicholas told her that they were going to pack up their things on Sunday and Monday morning, briefly store some things in the garage, and find a place to stay with a friend. Besides that, he said that there had been theft in their bank account. When this shocking news came out, it shocked the cops, and they immediately turned their attention to making sure Nicholas was telling the truth. As the police dug deeper into the case, more and more troubling details about the young pair in foreclosure started to come to light. They found out that Nicholas and Heidi bought their house for $250,000 in 2007 with 2 mortgages. The monthly payment for the first mortgage was about $1,300 and the monthly payment for the second mortgage was about $250. But the last payment on either mortgage was on September 22, 2008, which is almost 2 years before the criminal act. Nicholas got default papers on April 30, 2009, because they had not been paying their mortgage. Searchers turned up these papers in Nicholas's car. They also found out that the house was sold at a sheriff's sale on June 4, 2009. In a phone call on January 29, 2010, someone from the law company handling the foreclosure offered Nicholas $4,000 in cash if they left the property by February 18, 2010, or $2,500 if they left by March 20, 2010. Nicholas did not take either offer. The removal process began on February 12, 2010, and the hearing took place on March 8, 2010. Surprisingly, Nicholas Firkus went to the hearing by himself, without Heidi. Nicholas finally signed a document saying he would leave the house on March 22, 2010. But the Firkus did not follow through the due date, so the law company sent Nicholas Firkus a letter setting April 9, 2010, as the lockout date. Nicholas called the law company on April 6, 2010, just 3 days before the eviction date, and said that his grandmother was in hospice and close to death, so he needed a few extra weeks to leave the house. After agreeing, the law company moved the lockout to April 26, 2010. In fact, there was no proof that either of Nicholas's grandmothers were in hospice care at that time. Some people had more worries, though, because they were not ready for the eviction. Even though they knew they had to leave the land soon, there were no signs that they were packing or getting ready. There were still pictures on the wall, food in the fridge, nicely folded clothes in the dresser, and no furniture shifted. The house did not even have any boxes or other items lying around to show that they had started packing. Detectives found out that Nicholas and Heidi's problems were not just with their housing. The couple was having other money problems because they were living way above their means and had big money problems. They owed a lot of money on credit card and energy bills. They owed the U.S. get $1736.31 in the bank. In addition, there was a $17,381.66 debt on a credit card. If you look at the credit card charges from 2008 to 2009, you will see that Nicholas Firkus made 4 times as many charges as Heidi. It became clearer as the investigators put together the puzzle parts that things were starting to make sense. They might not have told Heidi about their bad financial position, like the foreclosure. Her family said they did not know about the sale until the day after she died. They thought that Heidi also did not know anything about the move. They said that Nicholas was the only one who could run the family and handle their money. Nicholas had told Heidi the only thing she knew about their money issues, and he had purposely kept the other information from her. Heidi's folks said that she had told them about a problem with her and Nicholas's bank account in the months before she died too soon. Even though Heidi's parents were not sure what the exact problem was, she told them how upset she was and said that the bank had treated their account wrong. Heidi and Nicholas's family did not know much about their relationship, but they did know that Heidi and Nicholas had been looking for a new house. Heidi told her parents that they were thinking about the chance of renting a place for a short time. Nicholas was there during the talk, but he did not say anything. She had talked about the idea of a short sale for their current home in the weeks before she died. This is usually a sign that the homeowner is having money problems and needs to sell the home before the loan takes it back in a foreclosure. But her parents say that the reason for this choice was not because they were having a hard time with money. Heidi said she wanted to have a child, but she did not want to start a family in this house because of the scary stairs and the safety issues she felt in the neighborhood. To be honest, they did not have any houses to sell at that point because they had lost all of their properties to sale. After hearing all of these new details, it seemed very likely that Heidi did not know how bad their money problems were. Her family was sure that Heidi would have told them about any big troubles or asked for their help if she had known about them. Several of the couple's friends said that even though they seemed to live a fancy life, there was a lot of stress around the Firkus pair. But Heidi seemed upset, and she might not have known about any money problems that were happening, maybe because she was so trusting. Heidi's friend went shopping with her on April 24, 2010, the day before she died. The friend told the police that Heidi did not seem upset or worried about their money problems. In fact, she wanted to buy a dress for the wedding of a friend coming up soon. Heidi also had plans for Sunday, which was very strange since they were supposed to be kicked out that same day. All of these stories made people doubt Nicholas's trustworthiness. Detectives looked through all of Heidi and Nicholas's text messages and emails very carefully in order to find any solid proof. However, they did not find any texts about foreclosure, eviction, or any other sign that they would soon have to leave their house. While Heidi did not say they wanted to leave their current home, in a message she sent to a friend on March 11, 2010, she did say they were open to moving. The law company in charge of the foreclosure and eviction did not have any papers signed by Heidi, and their staff had never talked to her directly. Nicholas was the only person who talked and interacted with them. Also, Heidi asked Nicholas many times in emails from March and April 2010 to take care of and answer these calls, even though she said she was getting them. Nicholas promised her that he would take care of it and told her that he was in touch with bank about an audit that involves fraud in their account. He also let Heidi know that they had good credit. In fact, the bank never did such a check, and there was never any fraud with Firkus's account. Even though this information seemed to point the finger at the suspect, what made the case even more confusing was that there was no clear motive. Detectives looked through Nicholas's bank accounts carefully to find any possible clues. They did not find any proof that he had benefited financially or otherwise from Heidi's death. As an alternative way to look into this strange case, police reconstructed the break-in to see if they could hear the front doorbell from the bedroom upstairs. They were in the bedroom on April 27, 2010, and looked out at the hallway. They tried the doorknob for 15 seconds on April 27, 2010, when they were at the front door. After that, they went to the bathroom and sat down by the sink. After that, they came in and shook. On the landing of the second floor, they looked at the front door. The test did not produce any major results, which is a shame. It was disappointing that nothing new happened, but officials kept working to find the truth. The cops kept a composite sketch while they were investigating. They talked to Nicholas, and for the most part, he was helpful. He gave them samples of his DNA and answered their questions. Later, a few weeks later, Nicholas hired a lawyer named Joe Friedberg. The lawyer told Nicholas to stop talking to the cops. Friedberg said that the cops had been unfair to Nicholas, stressing that Nicholas was a victim and a grieving widower. Because of this, when the cops asked Nicholas more in-depth questions, he refused to answer any of them because his lawyer told him not to. Everyone involved was shocked when Nicholas's lawyer, Joe Friedberg, called the cops. This was a big change in the investigation. He showed them the picture of the person he thought was breaking in, which he had made with the help of a private artist. Detectives thought it was strange that Nicholas and his lawyer had found an unknown artist to help them instead of using the police sketch artist. After Nicholas's initial claim that he did not get a good look at the intruder, the cops became even less convinced when they saw how detailed the sketch was. The drawing showed a man in his 40s or 50s with dark skin, big eyes, and a hoodie on. The police were suspicious of Nicholas, but they chose to give him the benefit of the doubt. The cops gave the sketch to the media in an effort to possibly find the person who broke in, and they soon found a lead. Police in St. Paul thought they knew the sketch. Just about 4 months before, the police were involved in a high-profile case involving a number of break-ins that happened in the morning while the homeowners were home. At the time, these acts got a lot of attention from the media. The cops suspected that they might be dealing with the same person, so they worked hard to connect the two cases. Michael Lee Pye was the person who broke in, but there was one problem. There is no way Michael Pye could have killed Heidi because he was already in jail when she was killed. The string of burglaries got him arrested on January 1, 2010. The cops in St. Paul still talked to Pye and then ruled him out as a suspect. Detectives thought that Nicholas Firkus might have seen Pye's face in the news and made up a story to make him look like the thief. However, theories by themselves could not show Nicholas's guilt, so the police had to wait for something stronger. The lab reports had some interesting results. The ballistic forensic study of the bullets showed that both shots came from Nicholas's shotgun, which backs up what he said about the gun that was used in the incident. Nicholas's story, on the other hand, did not match up with the path of the bullet that hit Heidi. What was most important, though, was that there was no unexplained DNA on either the murder weapon or the crime scene. It was either Heidi's or Nicholas's DNA that they could find. Because of this, they started to think that the crime might not have been done by an outsider, but by someone inside the building. Still, Nicholas Firkus has nothing to gain by killing his wife. Detectives could not help but wonder if Nicholas had been lying to Heidi for a long time, giving her the impression that his life was safe and going well. Heidi may have found out the truth about their money problems, or she was very close to doing so, possibly out of fear or desperation. He had done terrible things to keep Heidi believing what he was telling her. But these were just guesses. The police still did not have enough solid proof to link Nicholas Firkus to the crime. Some strongly thought Nicholas was innocent and were sure that someone breaking in was to blame for Heidi's sad death. On the other hand, some people thought Nicholas was involved in killing Heidi. Over the years, the police in St. Paul tried many times to get in touch with Nicholas to ask for his help with the case. But Nicholas did not want to talk to the police and even told them to stop trying to get in touch with him. Friedberg, his lawyer, always said that the cops had lied about how bad the Firkus couple's money problems were. He said that their law company had carefully looked over the reports and found that things were not as bad as the police said they were. The media also tried to get in touch with Nicholas to ask for interviews or comments, but they were not able to get through to him. Over time, without any major breakthroughs, the story became less interesting. Nicholas was never publicly named as a suspect, but the police never ruled him out as a possible suspect either. Nicholas's life had moved on by this time. Nicholas met Rachel Watson, a woman just 3 months after Heidi died. He used his recent loss to win her love. Lucky for Rachel, Nicholas became her personal friend through her sister Sarah, who was good friends with Heidi. Rachel started going out with Nicholas because she thought he was the man of her dreams. Sarah also thought she was the one for Nicholas because she thought he was a great man who had loved and cared for his wife devotedly. After dating for almost a year, Rachel and Nicholas said their vows in August 2012. The couple had a happy marriage and finally had 3 wonderful children. They quickly moved into a house that Nicholas Firkus's parents bought for them. That is what happened because Nicholas has bad credit at the bank. Nicholas and Rachel agreed to pay Nicholas's parents' mortgage every month, and Nicholas agreed to pay the county's property taxes directly. When Rachel came across a letter that they might lose their home to foreclosure because they had not paid their property taxes, everything was going so well. Rachel quickly thought of a link to Heidi's death. She could not help but think of the last time Nicholas was in a similar situation, which ended badly. Rachel's husband and the father of her children changed into someone she did not know after this event. Rachel expressed her fear for her life, asking if there had been times when Nicholas could repeat such actions. She chose to discuss this with him and record their conversation. She felt extreme stress during her time with Nicholas, despite his silence. This constant stress became overwhelming for her. In 2019, the couple finally separated. In the same year, Sergeant Nicole Sipes, who played a crucial role in the St. Paul Police's efforts, decided to reopen the case of Heidi Firkus's death. Sipes contacted the FBI and requested their assistance in analyzing the 911 call audio data to identify any potential evidence of a third person's presence in the house. The study of the 911 call brought up some worries. While Heidi was calling 911, there was no sign of a fight or talk about a stranger getting into the house. Nicholas said that someone broke into his house. But her call did not show any proof of that. But Nicholas's call to 911, which came in a minute later, could hear the sounds of cops arriving in the background. These facts made people question the timing and Nicholas's story. As a second step in their investigation, the FBI compared the results of the ballistics test with a computer model of Heidi and Nicholas Firkus's house. The study showed that it was more likely than not that the gunshots fired during the incident were not an accident, but were firing on purpose. Sergeant Nicole Sipes called Rachel Firkus when she heard that Nicholas Firkus had just divorced his second wife. Rachel told Sipes what she thought, which gave him more information about the case. Sipes thought that Rachel Firkus could have been a victim in the same way that Heidi was if she had been able to escape in time. Not long after that, 3 years later, the case made a surprising progress. The St. Paul police had enough strong evidence to charge Nicholas Firkus with killing his ex-wife after putting together the new evidence with the old evidence. Nicholas Firkus was caught at his home in Mounds View in May 2021, almost a decade after Heidi's tragic death. He was booked into the Ramsey County Jail after years of investigations. Nicholas Firkus's trial began in Ramsey County District Court in January 2023. It was the most famous case that Elizabeth Lamon and Rachel Craker had ever worked on as lawyers. The prosecutors showed the jurors not only the other proof, but also a possible timeline of events on the day of the murder. They thought that Nicholas had woken Heidi up on August 25, 2010, around 6:30 a.m., saying he had heard someone breaking in. Heidi went downstairs with him, but she was still tired and scared. So that this story would seem more real, he made her call 911. Nicholas shot Heidi when she turned her back at that very moment. After that, he shot himself in the leg and told the police that someone broke in. Lawyer Lamon, who was prosecuting Nicholas, said that Nicholas was desperate, ashamed, and out of time during the hearing. Things were going to become very real for him. But Richmond, the defense lawyer, did not agree with the prosecutor's idea of a motivation. He asked if a loving husband would kill the person everyone agreed was the love of his life, so he would not have to deal with the shame of a debt for a short time. Richmond also said that he would have been able to handle the shame much better than the death of his wife. Richmond also pointed out that Nicholas would not be making any money by killing Heidi, but it was not enough to make the jury believe it. The jury was sure that Nicholas was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. It took the jury 4 hours to decide that Nicholas Firkus was guilty of murder on February 10, 2023. He got life in jail without the chance of parole on April 13, 2023, which was almost 13 years after Heidi's death. Heidi's brother Peter Erickson said in the victim impact statement that their family had a hard time finding closure and coming to terms with Heidi's death because of the lies that were told and the pressure to accept them. Nicholas Firkus said he was not guilty and denied killing the man. He acknowledged the jury's verdict and the imposed sentence, expressing, "While I understand the jury's verdict and the sentence you must give, my body is condemned to serve for another man's crime, but my soul is free." Her parents, John and Linda Erickson, found relief upon learning the verdict. They expressed their gratitude to all the individuals who had dedicated themselves to pursuing justice throughout the years. They mentioned the inscription on Heidi Firkus's gravestone, which reads, "Joyful Child of God," and described it as a fitting portrayal of Heidi's spirit. They shared their belief that grief would no longer dominate their memories, and it would instead coexist with the goodness, joy, and beauty that Heidi had brought into their lives, thanks to God's gift. It breaks our heart to see how far some people are willing to go to keep up a front. But is there a chance that Nicholas Firkus was telling the truth about the intruder, or was he just trying to hide the truth? Feel free to tell us what you think in the comments section. We love hearing from you. Do not be afraid to send us your ideas if you would like us to cover a case you like. Please like, share, and follow to get more interesting true crime stories like this.